Round 5 of the NRL gave us insanity in Melbourne, 2 underwater Friday games, and some casual racism from Ricky Stewart.
So we're going to be on defensively.
Okay, thanks for your time. Good luck.
Welcome to LTW. Kicking us off on Thursday night, we had one of the most unique and entertaining games of rugby league I think any of us have ever seen. The Melbourne Storm took on the Brisbane Broncos at Amy Park in a game built up by the return of Storm superstar Cameron Munster and the debut of the new tallest man in the NRL, 19-year-old prop Benjamin Takura. The tries in this game were just so unique. It was like both sides were trying to outdo each other to find the weirdest way across the try line. Brisbane scored 2 tries, having only had 1 tackle in their attacking 20 metres, and Melbourne went into the sheds behind despite having had 68% of the territory. Brisbane captain Adam Reynolds couldn't start the second half due to a hamstring injury, but his 21-year-old halves partner Ezra Mam really took over the side brilliantly, scoring 2 tries, including one where he caught the Melbourne back 3 asleep, slicing through to get the ball and score underneath the posts. The two teams exchanged more tries than I could count in the last few minutes, but it was the Storm who prevailed on what was a crazy night in Melbourne. Then on Friday, we had a game that I described in my notes as confusing, and that's exactly what it was. The Bulldogs hosted the Roosters at Accor Stadium in a match where the 2004 Premiership winning side was honoured, and the Bulldogs absolutely lived up to their predecessors in the first half. 4 first half tries for Canterbury saw them bring a 26-0 lead into the sheds at halftime, aided by an absolutely shocking performance from the Roosters, including a Dominic Young send-off for a high tackle on Bulldogs fullback Blake Taaffe, and HIAs for both James Tedesco and Sam Walker. As the two teams found shelter from the pouring rain at halftime, I think they might have swapped jerseys because the 12-man Roosters came out looking absolutely full of heart and genuine belief that they could get back into the game. Try after try came for the Chooks, and the comeback just seemed more and more real as the scoreboard came back to 26-20. But a final try conceded to complete Matt Burns' hat-trick proved too much for the Roosters to come back from, with the final scoreline 30-26 in a game where both fan bases left pretty unhappy. Then closing Friday, we had an absolute downpour in Newcastle between the Knights and the Dragons. The sides got straight into the point scoring early with a kick into the in goal finding Jackson Hastings, who put the ball down while everyone else was still trying to find where the ball was in amongst all the scrambling and splashing. The Dragons had their answer when a grubber kick of their own from Ben Hunt found Zach Lomax in behind the Knights' defence, but it was Lomax who repaid the favour in spectacular fashion only 8 minutes later, throwing a 15-metre flick pass around the back of his body while he was being thrown into touch, landing right on the chest of Ben Hunt, who only had to fall over to score a try. Despite the conditions, it was points galore in the first half, with the sides heading into the sheds at 24-10. In the second half, the team seemed to struggle a lot more to put points on the board, with the only try coming to Knights superstar Kalen Ponga late in the game. The Dragons made a whopping 18 errors, which is still far too high even allowing for the conditions, and they'll be looking for a lot more consistency in that area in future. Starting off our Saturday was what shaped as a fascinating clash between the Rabbitohs and the Warriors at Accor Stadium. The Rabbitohs broke their losing streak last week against the Bulldogs, and now faced a really good test against a tough opponent to signal where they are as a side. But there's something that you gotta understand about the Rabbitohs. They're terrible. Despite getting on the scoreboard first, the Rabbitohs were again really poor, losing 34-4 in a game where they completed at only 60% and made a total of 16 errors. Latrell Mitchell also had a couple of moments of madness, including throwing an elbow into the head of Shaun Johnson, which will see the fullback suspended for 3 weeks. But not even that elbow could stop the magical Shaun Johnson from putting in what I saw as one of the better performances of his career, in a game where he had 2 tries, 2 try assists, 2 line break assists, and kicked for 633 metres. It was a fantastic showing from the veteran who just keeps reminding everyone what he's capable of. Then came a historic evening for the Manly Sea Eagles against the Penrith Panthers in a game where Daly Cherry Evans became the most capped Sea Eagle of all time. The Sea Eagles were super up for the contest early, and despite conceding the first tries to Tom Trbojevic and Tolutau Kola saw the Manly side head into the break with a 14-6 lead. Cherry Evans played brilliantly, having a try assist, a line break assist, and scoring 5 from 5 conversions, with regular Manly goal kicker Ruben Garrick ruled out in the first 3 minutes with a head injury assessment. The Sea Eagles played like a completely different side to the one who lost to the Dragons the week before. It was really encouraging to see them beat the heavyweight team of this competition. Meanwhile for Penrith, the absence of Nathan Cleary really shone through as soon as they were on the back foot, but they have got the bye this week, so it's a brilliant opportunity for them to regroup and refocus on the games ahead. Then closing Saturday, the Tigers had a trip up north to face the Dolphins in what was the first time in NRL history where a coach took on his player brother. Both sides came into the game having won their last two, but it was the Dolphins on the scoreboard early through young half Isaiah Katoa, who played brilliantly on the 9. The Tigers lacked execution in attack early, but credit has to go to the Dolphins' defence for keeping West scoreless in a half where the West Tigers absolutely dominated territory. But the Tigers came out looking like a completely different side after halftime, playing with a much more positive attitude that saw rookie centre Solomona Fatape cross for 2 tries and really make a game of it. Unfortunately for them, the Dolphins clicked back into gear late, putting the game to bed through tries to Cody Nikorima and Kenny Bromwich, sending the Finns to the top of the NRL ladder. Then finally we had Sunday, kicking off with a Queensland derby between the North Queensland Cowboys and the Gold Coast Titans. North Queensland got on the board early through rookie centre Zach Leibert, but as the saying goes, Rugby League giveth and Rugby League taketh away. Leibert went down just before the 20-minute mark with a suspected ACL that would be absolutely devastating for a player who has started the season in such good form. The Titans had injury concerns of their own too, with veteran half Kieran Foran leaving the field in the first half and not being able to return. Despite that though, in my opinion, the Gold Coast side looked the best they have in attack all year after moving AJ Brimson to 5/8. That being said, defensively they became the first side in history to concede 28 points in 9 consecutive games, which is just an awful record to have. Cowboys fullback Scott Drinkwater stole the show for me, with 2 tries, a try assist, 188 running meters, 3 line breaks and a line break assist. With positions up for grabs in the New South Wales Blues team, it's the kind of performance that really gets eyes and attention on Scott Drinkwater. The Cowboys did win convincingly, but their cause was not helped by a very soft and confusing sin-binning call to Chad Townsend over a hip drop tackle, prompting Cowboys coach Todd Payton to reportedly say in the press conference,
Come on, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. There's got to be an investigation into this. Someone's got to be accountable for this.
And finally, a trip to the nation's capital to see the Raiders take on the Parramatta Eels. Both sides came off very disappointing losses last week where they both surrendered leads, and their coaches had really challenged them to come out and show passion and commitment to the jersey. I could give you a play-by-play rundown of this game, but to be honest, the long and short of it is that the Raiders absolutely dominated the Eels. Canberra were on fire, coming away with a 41 points to 8 win over a Parramatta side who were genuinely never really in the contest. In a stark contrast to last week, every player out there for the Green Machine individually played very well, but none more so than recently re-signed centre Matt Timoko. The New Zealand international finished the game with 2 tries, 2 try assists, 2 line breaks, 3 line break assists and 226 running meters. You just couldn't want more than that from your centre. Unfortunately, Parramatta was soft, missing 35 tackles and just generally letting the Raiders cut through them way too easily. Lots of work and improvement to do before hosting the Cowboys next week. And that was League this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.